Hey everyone, welcome into October. We're ready to harvest our soybeans. I think I've got a plan figured out for storing our soybeans until we can sell them at the high so we're not losing money. Also, I took out a whole bunch of trees over by our hayfield and extended it a bit, and that's how we made money for this summer was by selling the wood. So we're at $37,000 right now, sitting pretty good, and I've got some big plans. We're definitely going to be making a hard left turn here and changing a whole bunch of what we're doing and what I originally had planned. But after talking to some of the farmers in town over coffee, I think it's going to be good. It's going to be a big risk, but I do believe it's going to be worth it. So we're going to go ahead and get this thing fired up, get our GPS rolling here. Drop it down. And as always, we will have straw that we need to bale up here. That way we can maximize our profit off of this field. And I'm excited to see how many soybeans we actually get. Hoping for a very good yield, hoping, for lots of money, because what I plan on doing is going to be extremely expensive starting out. Alright, well, we got our grain truck full, our combine is full, and if you look in front of me, we have a new bin. Well, technically it's a silo, I guess. Could not do what I originally thought. There is a train on this map, however, you can't load it. I was going to use that as free storage, but that didn't work. So we spent 10 grand and put up this silo. At least we can hold on to our soybeans. No big deal. Just kind of a pain in the butt, but what do you do? We've got enough money to get us to December, no problems, so that's good. We will sell our bales, December, January, somewhere in that area, and we should make a pretty good profit. We got a lot of bales, and we still have another cutting to go. So I'm pretty happy about that, and is that the silo I wanted? No. Are we going to need a silo moving forward? Also no. So it's going to be a temporary thing, but we'll get our money back when we tear it down, because that's how Farming Simulator works. So for now, it just kind of is what it is, and we're going to go with it. But we'll get this field finished off. I think we're about halfway, maybe a little more than halfway, so we should be somewhere around 50,000 liters of soybeans to sell off next June, July, somewhere in that area. And yeah, that'll be a hefty payday. Probably just in the nick of time, to be honest. I got a feeling next June, July, we're going to be hurting pretty bad for some money. Alright, and with that, our soybean harvest is officially done. Pretty happy with how many soybeans we got. We've got a lot of straw that we got to get baled up here. And we'll go ahead and get this dumped off in our grain truck here. Should all fit. And then we can get this equipment put away and get our baling equipment drug out, because we have grass to mow and turn into hay, and also all of this straw needs to be baled up. So we've got plenty to still get done here this month. And we ended up being just short of 50,000 liters. But that's fine. I'll take it. It's going to be a pretty good payday. Well, since we don't have any more grain to get harvested this year, I'm just going to go ahead and leave these soybeans right here on the truck. So we'll get this thing backed in. And that makes this easy. The beans are sheltered. No big deal at all. So we'll grab the 1066, get it unhooked from the baler, and get it back on the mower, and we can start mowing here. Oh, we'll get it fired up. We'll get it dropped down. Get this small section over here mowed, which is getting smaller because of how many bales we have parked over here. And then this will be done. And then we'll move over to the big hay field and get the big hay field and the other section where we took down all the trees earlier this summer. Get all of that mowed up and get it ready for tedding and baling. And as you can see, I definitely did not do a great job stacking bales. Some of them fell over, but hey, you live and you learn, right? Alright, and this section's done. Didn't take very long. Probably only going to get 2 bales off of it now that we have so much ground taken up by the bales and the new silo that's sitting there. We're going to pull into the yard here. I forgot to put fuel in this thing before we started. There we go. Nice small tank. Doesn't take very long to fill up. And we will go ahead and head over here. Y'all can see what I got done on this side of the river. So if you remember, this whole section here was nothing but trees. Well, those trees are now gone, and it's just straight grass. So it's not a field. I didn't cultivate it or till it up or nothing. So it's just grass, just like the farmyard. So we'll get this mowed up, and then we can start on the big field here. Definitely helps when you actually turn the mower on, huh? Alright, that's better. So we'll get this knocked out, get the big field knocked out, and then we can get to tedding. Alright, well, it is 1:30 in the afternoon, and as you can see, the grass is mowed, baled, and all picked up, and I didn't record any of it. Yeah, my bad. So we've got surprises, I guess, because we didn't do hay bales. We baled all of our straw up as well, and as you can see on the other side of this road, I went ahead and got that all tilled up and ready to become a field. And we're going to extend this grass field here all the way out to the edge of the driveways, and also till up the entire field all in one. These fields haven't been tilled up in a long time, so they're in desperate need of being tilled anyway. Or I guess disked is what I should be saying here. We're going to disk all of our fields. So we'll get this going here. Get it dropped down. And get this field widened a bit. Add a few more acres to it. That way, you know, we can maximize our profit off of the land that we already own. Alright, and we cannot take this road out because we don't own the field behind it. And there's no other field entrance coming in off the highway, so we cannot block our neighbor. They have an easement through our field here. Not a big deal. You know, slightly annoying, but not the end of the world. So we'll keep this as 2 separate fields for now. We'll just run right along the creek here. And we're going to extend this field out quite a bit. Especially up around the pond area here. So while our AI worker is finishing up disking our last field here, figured I'd jump up here and give you guys a good look at how many bales we have. And as you can see, we've got a lot of silage bales. I decided to do this last round of mowing and turn it into silage instead of hay, because silage sells for quite a bit more. So that is going to create a giant payday for us. Yeah, I don't know about giant, but it'll be a bigger payday than what it would have been if it was just hay. And as you can see, we've got a ridiculous amount of hay bales and straw bales for that fact. And you might also notice I'm down to $9,000. And that is because I got tired of renting the fertilizer cart from the co-op. And there just so happened to be one here on the used market. And this one's it's actually slightly bigger. This is an S800 instead of the S600. So we now have our own fertilizer spreader. Spent $10,000 on it being used. Got one heck of a deal if you ask me. So we're down to $9,000. That's fine. It's October. We'll be selling bales in a couple of months. The silage bales don't really fluctuate in price. So we're going to get basically max price any time of the year for them, which is fantastic. So we'll wait for our worker to finish disking that field, and that'll be it for the month of October. So I'll see you guys when it's time to start selling off all of our bales. All right, welcome into December, everyone. It's time to sell all of our bales. And you're probably wondering, how do I have $36,000? Well, we're making some big changes on this farm. And one of them was I tore down the cattle shed over there, cut down all the trees, and sold the wood. So we're sitting pretty good financially. And we're going to be sitting really good here once we get all of these bales sold. There's a lot of bales, and after we get all of those sold this afternoon, we're going to have an auction. We're going a drastically different direction from here on out. After talking to some of the farmers at coffee, they said corn and soybeans are a good way to make a living, but the best and the king moneymaker is cotton. If you can get started, cotton is the way to go. So we're going to risk it all. We're selling off everything except for our big case tractor, the planter, and we're going to keep our grain truck at least until we get the beans sold. So we're going to make hopefully a good profit off of our auction, selling off all of our equipment. But the big money is going to come from the bales and selling the soybeans this summer. So it's going to be a big risk. The machine is not cheap to harvest the cotton. We don't have any way to transport the giant cotton bales. So we've got a lot of money to spend, and I have no idea how we're going to make it, to be honest. This is going to be very, very risky, but if we can pull it off, we're going to make a lot of money. So we better get in gear, get these bales sold. As you can see, it's snowing, so we need to get these bales gone before the bad weather hits here. All right, it is 1:30 in the afternoon. We got all of our bales sold, and the auction starts at 2. So we need to get all of this equipment drug out of the sheds and lined up for everybody to look at and for this auction to get going. And as you can tell, we're at $175,000. We made a killing off those bales, but nowhere near enough to pay for a harvester for cotton. So I don't know what we're going to do there. This could be very sketchy, man, I don't know if we're going to make it or not. We'll have to see how this auction goes. Well, it's almost 4:30. The auction is over, and our farmyard is looking a little thin at the moment. We take a walk around. You can see both of these sheds are empty. This shed is still as normal. It has our truck. We need to get that net wrap sold at some point. We got a little bit of fertilizer back there in the corner. And over here, we have a power washer, planter, and tractor. And our fertilizer cart. And that is it. That's all we have for equipment left. So we've got $328,000 now. Still not enough to buy a harvester, but we have the soybeans that we're going to sell this summer. Now we're going to have quite a few input expenses because we're going to lime everything and fertilize everything. That way we're getting absolute maximum yield for this first season of cotton, because we need this first one to be really, really good or we're absolutely sunk. And we're moving back to Iowa with our tail tucked between our legs. So let's hope we can make this work. Cotton can be planted as early as February, so we're only a couple of months away from planting. So we need to go ahead and get our lime and fertilizer down. That way the fields are 100% prepped and ready. So with a little bit of daylight we have left today, the co-op closes in a half an hour. I'm going to run into town fast and pick up a bunch of pallets of lime and fertilizer. That way we are ready to go for next month. Welcome into January, everyone. It's definitely snowing, and I'm hoping we got all of the fertilizer, lime, and seed that we need for this year. I'm really hoping so. We're down to $265,000, and part of that purchase was I went ahead and bought the new front loader and bale spike so that we can pick up the cotton bales. Just went ahead, bought it now. I know we don't need it until, late this fall, but figured why not? Ran the tractor into town to do some repairs on it anyway. That cost a little over $1,000, so yeah, we're sitting good. So we're gonna go ahead, get some of these pallets off the trailer, and start covering these fields in lime and fertilizer. Alright, we are fully loaded here. We have pulled up into the field. Get our GPS going. Alright, we're going to start spreading lime here. So this field will go quick. We'll jump over into what was the bean field last year, and then we'll finish off with what was our grass field. So yeah, I'm not sure if this is actually going to work out or not. I'm really hoping it does. I definitely feel like this is a pretty big risk for us to take here. The investment is huge. We're talking overall, close to $1 million investment by the time you buy. Luckily, I went ahead and bought this tractor and that planter. That saved us a whole lot of money in the long run, because that planter is more than big enough to cover all of the acres we currently have. So that is one huge benefit. However, even a used harvester is going to be, well over $300,000. That's not great. That is definitely not great. But big risks can create big rewards. So hopefully this all works out the way that I think it's going to. Alright, pulling into our second field here. We'll go ahead and get this bean field lime. This one will take a little bit longer, as it is significantly bigger than the last field we were just in. Alright, well, we're about empty, and we're down here at the field entrance, so we'll run back, load up again, and we're definitely going to be short. We're not going to have enough lime. So that's something I will have to run back to town and pick up. Alright, well, we are done spreading lime, and I got just ridiculously lucky. So for grass fields, they apparently don't use lime. So it's already fully limed except for the little bit that I had extended. So that worked out perfect. I didn't have to lime the entire grass field. I only had to lime the part that I extended. And we're not going to be using a whole lot of fertilizer either. If we take a look at our soil composition, This is already at 50%, so it needs one pass. We don't need to go over that. So we have this little field here. We have our big bean field that needs to be fully fertilized. But where our cow pasture was, since it hasn't been planted in ever, it's already 100% fertilized. So we're sitting absolutely fantastic. So we're definitely going to have enough fertilizer for this year and to do a pretty good chunk, if not all of our fields next year. So I'm going to come over here. We're going to hit this little patch over here first with our fertilizer, and then we will go into the bean field and we can hit the bean field. All right, we are done spreading fertilizer. So we should be good to go and ready to plant next month as long as the weather works in our favor. So I'm going to go ahead and get this brought back here into the home place, get the fertilizer cart and tractor put in the shed, and then I'm going to go ahead and get everything, all the rest of our fertilizer and seed put away. Boy, you'd think I've backed up a trailer once or twice, but doesn't look like it. Alright, we're going to get this stuff put away. So I will see you guys either in February or March, depending on weather, so that we can get our cotton crop planted for the first time. So if you like what you're seeing, please make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And I'll see you guys in the next one.